let me ask you a simple question first. Is being impulsive an advantage or a disadvantage in war? I know it is hard to answer these subjective questions with an objective yes or no. But when it comes to nationalism and patriotism, it is hardly possible not to be impulsive. The same thing happened after lote sharing. Bhutan's prime minister made a statement. A large section of the media and masses started criticizing Bhutan's stand. Some have even concluded that Bhutan is going to become a Chinese ally and turn its back on India. But soon, MEA cleared the whole Indian stand. Namaste and welcome to TFI Post. I'm your host, Paurush Gupta. Let's begin. Bhutanese Prime Minister Lote Shering made a statement that China is a party to border negotiations. He further stated that all countries have an equal say and that no country is big or small. He even said that there was no Chinese intrusion in Bhutanese territory. This created resentment in the Indian media and people started criticizing the Bhutan's stand. But there was no official statement from the Indian government or specifically from the MEA. Being affected by hyper-impulsiveness, many foreign policy commentators and media personnel attacked Bhutan's stance. They simply undermined the integrity of Bhutan and India's long-standing relationship with it. Unfortunately, all the media commentary was made without analyzing the context of India-Bhutan ties. In our previous video, we clearly addressed the crucial aspect of India-Bhutan ties and suggested that a necessary wait is required before the government of India takes any stand. And now, PM Modi has met the Bhutanese king during his visit to India, after which the fog of confusion has been cleared. Before going to India's stance on Doklam, let us understand what was discussed in the meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bhutanese King Wangchuk. In a press conference organized by the Ministry of External Affairs, Mr. Vinay Mohan Kwatra, the Foreign Secretary, opened up on the agenda and outcomes of the meeting discussed. The first point of the discussion was based on the economic and development partnership, which included the following. First, cooperation on the 13th five-year plan of Bhutan, which is to begin next year. Second, India to provide relevant financial support for reforms in Bhutan. Third, India support in institution building in Bhutan. Fourth and the most important one is project-based partnership in development. Secondly, both countries agreed to cooperate in trade, connectivity and investment. The cooperation will be focused on infrastructure connectivity, under which the railway connectivity was agreed upon between the two nations. This will definitely bolster the people-to-people linkage, which is also the key area of cooperation under the connectivity scheme. Apart from that, air connectivity and digital connectivity will be the core areas of cooperation. Thirdly, it was discussed to take cooperative, long-term and sustainable trade facilitation measures that are directly linked to the economic prosperity of both India and Bhutan. This includes a standby credit facility for Bhutan. It is worth noting that this standby credit facility will be the third of its kind to be provided to Bhutan, as there are already two credit facilities in place. Fourthly, and most importantly, discussion on energy cooperation took place. It must be considered that 80% of the country's external public debt stems from loan for hydropower projects, mostly financed by India. New Delhi is also the largest buyer of Bhutanese hydropower. The sector makes up about 14% of Bhutan's GDP and 27% of government's revenue. But PM Modi and King Wangchuk discussed the diversification of the power sector to other renewable non-hydro projects. Bhutan is assured of increasing cooperation in its effort. Finally, cooperation was assured in new sectors such as space. This includes space startups. The cooperation is already underway. As of March 15th this year, the ground station for Bhutan-India service at Thimphu was inaugurated. This ground station will enable Bhutan to receive data from India-Bhutan satellite pertaining to its territory directly from the satellite and process in it real time. A consensus was also reached on the exchange of agricultural commodities and the establishment of integrated checkpoints on borders. In the press conference, questions regarding the statement of Bhutanese PM were asked. Replying to that, Kwatra said, and I quote, India and Bhutan remain in close touch relating to security cooperation. He further said, all I would say is that the government of India very closely follows all development that have been a bearing on our national interest and we will take all necessary measures to safeguard them as necessary. The Indian stand is pretty clear on this. Bhutan has always been an important partner of India and it knows that with India by its side, it has peaceful domestic conditions. Its bilateral relations across the world are minimal and are mostly discussed through the Indian embassy. This shows that the kingdom does not have much interest in a global anarchic atmosphere. It has continuously renounced Chinese offers of territory swaps because of security concerns about India, among the other reasons. Besides, it knows what China has done to many other countries, and it never wants to be that. And if it wanted, the above cooperation sector clearly portrays that it has nothing that India can't fulfill. Additionally, being on the Indian side, its sovereignty has never been compromised, a case difficult to make with China. So after all of this, it must be clear that the statement of Bhutan's Prime Minister has nothing substantive against India, and the long historical relationship between India and Bhutan are hard to break. And if this statement was considered by China as a tactical win, then PM Modi has checkmated China and settled the score.